Hi, this is Brent Dunn from PPC Mode, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to find local business owners that are interested in your services. Now, before we even dive into exactly how to do this, I want to teach you a few rules that I found help me find higher quality potential clients. Now, when you're working in a local space, especially when you're managing multiple clients, you don't want to have a client that is a pain in the ass. So say that you have 10 clients and you have one client that's calling you every 5 minutes, bitching about this and bitching about that. You want to avoid that because that's taking away time from the rest of your clients that you could be providing value to. And to do this, I have a few rules that I follow that cuts that out. Rule number 1, make sure, contrary to popular belief, that they have a website. Usually when a business to this day doesn't have a website, unless it's a relatively new company, means that the business owner is hard-headed and is very against change. Now, because they're very against change, it's going to be very difficult for you to get anything through to them. If you want to try a new marketing technique, if you want to make optimizations to their website, if you want to change anything, usually they'll give you a tremendous amount of pushback and think that they already know better. And usually that is associated with someone that doesn't have a website because it means that they think that the old traditional way of advertising is superior and this new internet thing or social media is just a fad. Rule number 2, make sure that the company is already actively advertising on the internet. Now, the reasoning behind this is number 1, it allows you to already know that the business owner is actively interested in advertising their business. And secondly, they're actively interested and somewhat knowledgeable of advertising on the internet. And the reason you want to do this is because when you're providing pay-per-call services, or maybe you're even running their campaigns for them, maybe you take that over as an agency, you don't want to have to spend too much time informing the client about all the different options out there. Usually if a business is already advertising online, another company or another agency has already informed the client on all of these various things, and therefore it'll be easier for you to sign them in as a client once you've already provided them quality leads. Now, these next 2 rules are optional, but I found that they're highly helpful when you're trying to provide a lot of value to the business owner. So rule number 3 is, especially when you're gonna be running AdWords, or maybe you have a few properties that bring in a lot of Google traffic organically, you want to try and find a business owner that is actively advertising on Google AdWords for certain terms, but is not ranking organically for those same terms. And the reasoning behind that is usually if they're advertising on AdWords, they're only getting a portion of the clicks available. However, if they are already organically ranking for those same terms, it's going to be very hard to provide a lot of leads off of just an AdWords ad, as opposed to also ranking organically. By allowing you to have the option to rank your own sites organically, you can send the client a lot more leads than what they're used to. Now, this one is going to be tough, and so this is what I call the ultimate client if you can find a client that fits all 4 of these things. The 4th is, first, they're advertising online. They're already advertising on Google AdWords, but they're not ranking organically, and they don't have a mobile optimized site. And the reason why you want to find clients that do not have a mobile optimized site is this allows you to provide a tremendous amount of higher quality leads very early on. And the thought behind that is even if a company is currently spending money on advertising, but they're advertising on mobile, but they're sending it to a desktop website, chances are it doesn't convert very well. So they're paying a tremendous amount of money to not generate many leads. However, if you come along and create a mobile optimized landing page, you can be providing phone calls a lot cheaper than what they're used to, and usually there'll be higher quality leads. So this is a tremendous opportunity for you because not only can you send the client a lot of potential business early on, but this also allows you later on to provide other types of services if you want. Like I mentioned, you can help rank them organically. You can even build their site out for mobile and charge them a pretty large fee depending on how well you've done with this client. Now that we understand the rules, let's go ahead and hop in and I can try and demonstrate a live, unscripted example of how I would go about doing this. So now that we hopped over to Google, one of the first things you're going to want to do is Google the niche that you're in. Now, I've found that if you just simply, for example, if you just Google plumber, there's going to be a lot of national campaigns. So I'll go ahead and show you. Go ahead and type in plumber. As you can see, there's the Roto-Rooter, which is a national company. You know, there's not really like QualityLocalPros.com. It's a lot of larger sites that aren't necessarily local businesses at all. They're like directories or they're huge national companies that are in multiple regions. Now, usually companies that are this large already are actively working with affiliate networks. So if you wanted to run their pay-per-crawl offer, you could just go grab it from a affiliate network usually, or you could try and go direct. However, the goal is to find local businesses. And so to do that, we need to niche down a bit more. So for example, we can do Lodi, California, which is where I'm at currently. And once again, we can see that Lodi Plumber is actually relatively easy to rank both organically and locally. It's just all national companies ranking for these terms. So we are going to have to get a bit more granular with our search. So if we go ahead and do water heater repair, if I can spell, which I can't, and then do Lodi, California, we might be able to get more local type plumber sites. So as you can see, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and open a few of these. And as you can see, this is definitely a local plumber that's just trying to advertise on AdWords. And it's not some large corporation or anything like that. So far it's perfect. He's already advertising on AdWords. So he met rule number 2, rule number 2. He obviously has a website, rule number 1. And we'll see what we'll do is we grab his URL. So it's Valley Air Conditioning. And then what I'll do is I'll search for it. And as you can see, I'm searching, but he's not ranking organically. He's only advertising on AdWords. So if we wanted to, we could go ahead and try and rank for this exact term, water heater repair, Lodi, California. And the reason we would want to do that is usually people will go ahead and skip these ads. Like the majority of people will skip these ads and they'll just go directly to a organic listing. And so the first one that's not like Yellow Pages or something like that is this Phil and Paul's Plumbing. So we'll go ahead and open his up as well. And as you can see, that's another local business that is ranking for that term. But as you can see from, I'm not sure if you understand SEO, but at this point you can see that this does have quite a bit of content, but the actual site is not that great. So we probably could outrank him relatively easily. So the final thing we want to do is make sure that this guy's website isn't responsive or mobile optimized. And as you can see, I can just tell right based on this header that it's definitely not responsive. But what he does have is this call number right here up at the top. So that might show up as decent. It might show up properly on mobile, meaning his phone number will show up at the very top when you're looking at his website. However, I can tell that it's not mobile optimized. So this client would be perfect to go ahead and reach out to him, say, hey, I noticed you're advertising on AdWords. I have a few, plumber leads. I have a few leads coming in. They're interested in water heater repair. Would you be interested in me sending those leads over to you? And you can either try and hard sell him right there, or you could send him leads first. A few weeks later, a month later, after you've noticed that you've already sent him a few calls, you can call him up and say, hey, I've sent you so-and-so, I sent you this amount of leads, how have they been working out for you? If he says, oh, they've been working out great, then you say, wonderful, I've got quite a bit more of those leads that are leads in other services that he offers. What's he going to say? Oh man, how can I get my hands on those leads? Then you start negotiation. It's much easier to get a client that already is doing all these things than just going door to door trying to find, knocking at a plumber's door and saying, hey, are you interested in buying some phone calls? It's not going to work. It might, but this is much easier. And so what I usually do is I make a spreadsheet. I make a list of all the websites that I find, the phone numbers, the address, and if I can find the business owner's name. And I go ahead and I put those into my ring pool, or I'll call them up and ask them ahead of time if they're interested in my pay-per-call leads. So I hope you found this video helpful. I'm definitely going to be making more. So if you haven't done so already, please visit ppcmode.com. And I wrote an epic guide on pay-per-call marketing, which I'll link down below. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you are new here, please subscribe. And like I mentioned, please visit ppcmode.com.